Pakistan. And we're going to kick off. Actually, can I get a roving mic? Can I Great stuff. The substance, like you said, we're going to make this quite interactive and hopefully hear from you along the way and hear about your perspectives. And I really want to make it very practical as well, so you come away with some useful tools to use in your pharma digital marketing. I want to think a little bit about digital marketing channels. I want to ask you about the kind of channels that you might currently use for digital marketing and what that looks like. So to get to know you a little bit, I'm going to load up a little online survey, online poll, so you can get your mobile phone, hopefully, and scan the QR code, and it'll join you into a little poll you can take part in. And we'll ask a few questions to get to know you and your experience with digital marketing and the channels that you're using. So you'll be able to answer, and we'll see what's in the room, who's using which kinds of channels. So yeah, scan the QR code. Did everyone get the QR code? Can you just put it back one? Back one, just the QR code, make sure everyone's got it. There's the QR code. Scan that now, and then we'll go to the poll. Okay, so that's your QR code for taking part. Yeah, if you go forward now. Okay, the first question should come up on your mobile device now. Which digital channels do you currently use for pharma marketing? So if you're in a marketing role, or if you know that you're using digital channels for pharma marketing, then no, we should see some answers, hopefully. It's not working. Okay. Let me try this again. Okay. Thanks for that. Okay, we're going to try this again. If not, I'm just going to ask you, but we're going to give it one more go. Let's just try it a second and we'll see. I'm going to try a couple of things on here and we'll see. Okay, are you seeing questions come up now? Yes. Okay, cool, that's fine, good. Okay, there's the QR code if you missed it. And then, let's move forward. Hopefully now you see some questions. Okay, we got some data coming through. Oh, maybe not some. No responses coming in. Okay. Okay, I have the responses on here. I need to get those on screen.
Done. It's working.
It's working. Okay, great. Great. Is it right? Okay, do you know what we're going to do? I'm gonna. That's fine. You can. You can pull that back out there. We're not getting it on screen, but I'm going to answer the question that we've got. I have the data. Yeah, can we... Okay, bear with us a minute. Okay, we have some results. Thank you. Great. Okay, so which digital channels do you currently use for marketing? Social media. Okay, great. Social media is coming up as the most popular choice. Email, EDZA is fantastic. Great. We've got a few others down there. Podcasts. Some of you using podcasts for digital marketing. Fantastic. Website or blog. So we've got a good range of tactics currently being used. We're going to explore some of these and think about how they might be helpful. Right, see, social media is the #1 one. So can you just click forward? Thank you. Okay, the next question should come up on your mobile. What social media channels does your company use for pharma marketing in Pakistan? Do you see the question? You can just tap, you can enter, you can put in, you can answer the question. Okay, great. We're seeing some words come up. You can just type in anything. Yeah, great. If you scan, if you go back 2 slides, we'll get to the QR code. That's it. There's the QR code. Okay. If you missed the QR code, let's just pull this out. I'll move the chair so you can get to it. Okay, Dr. Huri has the QR code as well if you missed it. Okay, great. Let's jump forward, please, Mohammed Ali. Thank you. Okay, we're seeing some words come up. Great. Okay, good. You're putting in some words here, the channels that your company uses for pharma marketing. So we've got Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp. Facebook looks like top, the most popular choice at the moment. Twitter, we do see Twitter in here as well. We're going to talk a little bit about Twitter and the healthcare professionals and how they're using that. X, great. Now X, obviously the new name for Twitter. Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn. Great, okay, good. We've got a good sense of what you're using there. And let's go forward one more question, please, thanks. Okay. Which social media channels do you use personally? Okay, so we talked about which ones you use for pharma marketing. Which ones do you personally use in your, it doesn't mean necessarily in work or in your home life, in your private life? Which social media channels do you use? Okay, LinkedIn is big, so interesting. YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp, someone said. Are you seeing the first question? Okay. I think that's because of the internet connection, probably. Let's see. Try going back one and forward one, let's see if we get it. Okay, and then go forward again. Okay, good. Okay, the data's, that's good. Now you have the first question again. The data's changing more, social media. Okay, this is good to see. Okay, let's go forward to the next one. Okay, now we have this, and then again, one more time. Okay, is anyone seeing this question come up? It may take a few seconds for the internet just to catch up. You're stuck on the first one.
Yeah. The presenter hasn't changed slides yet.
It thinks it hasn't touched it. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just the lag in the network. It's just the internet. It's just the internet. Yeah, it says the connection seems to be unstable, so it may just be the internet. Can you scroll forward one? Okay, that's fine. And go back. Okay. So we got something. Maybe no one's seeing this question now. There's maybe a few seen it. We've seen some LinkedIn's come up, Instagram, but maybe the data's not complete yet. Okay, great. Can we flip back to the slides now? Okay, this is growing. More saying social media now too. Okay, great. So a lot of you are using social media in pharma marketing. We saw some other channels there as well. We saw email, we saw e-detail aids, other kinds of activities, digital activities that you've been using for pharma marketing. Great. Okay. I'm going to now share with you something. I run a podcast with doctors, with healthcare professionals from around the world, and I talk with them about how they learn new information, and how they communicate, and how they use social media for engaging and so on with each other. And so I'm going to show you a couple of doctors. This is one from the UK. He's called Dr. Kevin Fernando. He's based in Scotland. He's a general practitioner, so primary care physician with a special interest in diabetes. And I was asking him about how and why he learns new medical knowledge, what it looks like. So he talks quite fast actually, but he's got some subtitles on it. And he just talks about his the challenge he faces with the rapidly growing medical knowledge. How does he keep up with medical knowledge? So let's just watch what he says.
Recently, telling her about a really interesting paper I read from a number of years ago actually about the doubling of medical knowledge. So in the 1950s, the estimated time of doubling of all medical knowledge, not just diabetes, was about 50 years. 1980s, estimated time of doubling of medical knowledge, 7.5 years. 2010, estimated time of doubling of medical knowledge, about 3 years. Guess what it's now, Daniel?
Well, it must be less than that.
Yeah. Estimated time for doubling of all medical knowledge is 77 days.
Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. So how do you handle that? What for you as a GP? I mean, does that mean that the knowledge increases, or that there's just much more information to go out and discover? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, a bit of everything. But another statistic, this I don't have a paper to back up with, but I remember someone telling me, in primary care we get about 250 guidelines a year to follow across all clinical specialties. So you can see what we're dealing with in primary care. And what I love to hear about GP is you don't know what's coming in the door next, but you've got to deal with it. And I suppose that comes back to the reason for this interview. The social media has been phenomenally helpful over the last, it's been, I should say, it's been both a blessing and a curse, but we can come back onto that. But it's been hugely helpful in trying to keep up to date. If I can't get to some of the latest diabetes conferences, cardiovascular, someone's going to be tweeting from it. That's where I often hear about breaking news from MHRA or other drug safety alerts. So certainly that's been hugely helpful in helping me keep up to date. I suppose I'm fortunate in that I work 2 days as a GP, so I've got set aside protected time to keep up to date. But my colleagues in North America who work more full time than me do, they routinely tell me they struggle to keep up to date, and rely on people like myself to help keep them up to date.
Okay, great. So there's a GP in the UK saying that the massive, rapidly changing pace of medical knowledge, 77 days, he said, is how rapidly medical knowledge doubles, and that in primary care, he gets 250 guidelines a year to try and keep up with. A massive amount of knowledge. And then he says social media is how he keeps up to date. You saw him say there that if he can't get to a particular medical congress, he'll follow it online, he'll follow it on social media, he'll see what his colleagues are tweeting from the congress and how they're sharing information. So that's part of the challenge and the opportunity. And what I want to do today as we think about digital marketing is to think about how do we really empathize with healthcare professionals trying to make the right decisions when we're marketing to them. How do we build empathy into that for this situation that the customer is facing? So this is the challenge. Rapid growth in medical knowledge is a challenge for doctors to keep up with. So the solution, one of the solutions to this is how healthcare professionals are using digital channels, digital media, how they're using the internet, how they're using the web, and especially here, how they're using social media. It's great to see that social media was among the top choices that you have for how you do marketing, and perhaps some of that is facing the communications that you put out to patients. But let's think about the prescriber who's making those decisions. So here's what Dr. Fernando says about social media.
And a lot of companies, diabetes companies, do have quite helpful information, patient-facing videos on their company websites, but HCPs are reluctant to click through to the big industry name, the big names in diabetes. They won't go through the websites for the reasons I've mentioned. There's definitely some reticence there. So I suppose that's why social media is helpful. Other key opinion leaders. I speak on behalf of many of these companies. I declare my conflicts or disclosures. I still get, no company will ever pay me to say anything. I will give my objective opinion. And companies know not to approach me if they don't expect a straightforward and honest, objective presentation from me.
I thought that was really interesting to hear him say that pharmaceutical companies have websites, but he said we don't really trust them or find them so useful as much as we find each other. There's a really interesting thing, there's been this rise in influencer marketing. You'll be aware, I'm sure, you can't escape it. Influencer marketing is all around us. A big global agency, Publicis, just spent $500 million buying a influencer marketing agency because there's so much value in influencer marketing. And you see it shared there really by Dr. Kevin Fernando. He doesn't talk about influencers, he says key opinion leaders or other healthcare professionals he trusts online. But the reality is that our customers, they trust other customers more than they trust pharma, the industry. And I think it's a challenge for us as pharma marketers, but it's also an opportunity if we can see it. I'm going to play you one more video. This is Dr. Shahlan Beg. He actually is an oncologist based in Texas, in the USA. He trained here at Aga Khan University Hospital, and he's now a practicing oncologist in the US. And I asked him about social media.
You've been using social media for a long time, actually. How important has social media been for you in your professional work?
Absolutely tremendously important. I will say, when I joined social media, I thought that I was joining social media with the purpose of engaging patients and people who have questions about cancer. Very quickly, I realized that at least when it came to Twitter, which is where I was spending most of my time, my audience and the people who I was following were mostly other healthcare professionals. So that brought its own benefits of networking, learning from other experts in the space, being able to discuss challenging situations, learning from others' experiences, and organizing, to be honest. There are a lot of groups that organize because we were able to find like-minded individuals who lived hundreds of miles away that we would never have been able to know or meet otherwise, where again, now we often would go to one of our oncology conferences and meet somebody physically for the first time, but we know them very well because we know the way they talk and with how they think, and we've had potentially dozens of interactions between before we ever meet them physically.
Yes.
So that's been an extremely rewarding experience for me.
Okay, great. So we see there Dr. Shahlan Beg talking about how social media allows him to connect with other healthcare professionals more effectively, to connect with his peers and learn from them and share ideas. And so I find that really interesting, how healthcare professionals are learning from each other on social media, collaborating. And Dr. Shahlan Beg says that he first thought he would use social media to reach patients, and we certainly see that happening, and we're going to look at some examples of that. But actually he found it most rewarding and valuable to learn from other physicians, not only in his own nation, but all over the world. And we'll see some of that, how that connects together. I'm going to ask you to take 2 minutes and talk to the person next to you about what did you learn here? What does this mean for you if healthcare professionals are overwhelmed with new information and they're using social media to learn from each other? What impression does that give you? talk to each other for 2 minutes. Let's maybe hear one or two thoughts from the discussions you had there. Anybody like to share one or two thoughts about your impressions there? Yeah, okay, there's a couple here. I'm going to go to the back first and I'll come to you. Great, tell us.
My name is Dr. Atta. I'm representing Macro International. By going through this all, the involvement of the SCPs in the social media, there are few findings, what we have learned in the last 10-15 years. Actually, the health professionals, they are very much comfortable with their own circle of specialty. This is one of the concern. And secondly, what we found that we make them gather in any of the forum. What we can do is that we can provide a platform where we can discuss these things. But the problem is that most of the doctors, they are not comfortable in sharing their information to us rather than discussing with their own specialty. Secondly, gathering them in a platform and providing them a platform where they can discuss the things is, we have a lot of burden on us. Gathering them, obliging them, and then we want them to discuss even our area of interest, where they are least bothered about. They are more concerned about the topics of their interest. So this is one of the issues. Although we can get benefit, but I mean, in my opinion, personally, not that much at that level where we want to have what we expect that we'll get a maximum benefit from this. There are concerns, to be honest. This is my opinion.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a really, really good point, right? This challenge of essentially, what do? Do we try and meet doctors where they are, on the social media channels where they are? And there's all kinds of, you'll know, regulatory and compliance issues around that. Or do we try and build a platform for them to connect in and then find they don't want to go there because they're already talking to each other on their own platforms? It's a great challenge to kind of solve, right? You had a response, you had a thought? Yeah. Oh, there's one here too.
Assalamualaikum. Raja, I'm connected with Pharma Marketing somehow. Let me answer your question, sir. This is something, social media is something that is to be joined by everybody in order to get maximum out of your daily activities you perform, especially in terms of pharma marketing. When you go on to when you join your social media and specifically make your own profile, like for example LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the most powerful area in it, right? When you make your profile and you try to connect others, your friends, and make new connections, people are going to know about you. And then your circle increases from there. And information and knowledge automatically comes into your box. You don't need to make more efforts. You become the part of that circle. And whenever you need to market, you need to share your stuff with the market, you can use social media platforms, specifically LinkedIn and Facebook. Because Pakistani market has more inclined towards Facebook because people are not very much aware of LinkedIn. But make it sure, from pharma marketing, LinkedIn is the best tool. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that too. That's really interesting, isn't it? Just to hear LinkedIn, Facebook. Actually, I'm going to ask a show of hands because I asked on the question on the poll, what's channels are you using personally, but I think some the internet didn't necessarily follow up. So I bet everybody is on Facebook. Who's on Facebook? Okay, everyone's here. And how many of you are on LinkedIn? A good number, it's more. Okay, LinkedIn is big. I had the feeling that was going to be the case actually. So this is interesting. You're all on LinkedIn. How many of you use LinkedIn or see LinkedIn as a way to connect with doctors? How many of you connect with doctors on LinkedIn? A smaller number, but yeah, but perhaps a great opportunity. Okay, we'll come back to some of that. Great, thanks for discussing that. We're going to, I'm going to show you some research that we carried out on healthcare professionals in Pakistan. So my company, Creation, we track the digital behaviors of healthcare professionals, and we track them on social media, the different channels they're using. We actually have, we're tracking 3 million healthcare professionals all over the world, and their social media conversations, so we can learn what do doctors think and feel about anything at all actually. How do they feel about the latest treatments? How do they feel about health policy? What do they think needs to change? What do they think patients' needs are? And it gives us this rich data set we can use AI to mine and understand and learn from, which is great for learning about customers. So I asked my team to do some analysis as I was coming out here on, can you look at the latest data on healthcare professionals in Pakistan and the social media channels that they're using. So this is quite interesting. We took a look at healthcare professionals using Twitter, or X, and so one of the things that we saw was that we tracked about nearly 5,000, 4,800 healthcare professionals in Pakistan who are using X, and about half of those are actively posting content. So maybe the other half are just listening. You heard the testimony of Dr. Shaban Beg and Dr. Kevin Fernando saying that they may use X or Twitter to listen to what other healthcare professionals are saying when they've been to a Congress meeting. And so perhaps some of those are actually listening and some of them are actively engaged and discussing and talking. In fact, between them, those 4,800, about half of them are posting, but those who were posting, over a 15-month period up to October, they posted more than 2 million times, and the total impressions, that is like the potential for everybody to see those, was 23 trillion. So that's a lot of volume of data and conversation happening from these health professionals in Pakistan. Now, what kind of specialties are they in? Actually, the greatest number of the single group of specialty that is greatest for healthcare professionals on X on Pakistan is surgeons. So surgeons are really active on X in Pakistan. Then we see pharmacists, pediatricians, cardiologists, internists, and there are many more as well from there. This is actually the healthcare professionals that are following healthcare professionals in Pakistan. So you can see, starting from Pakistan here, they follow a network of other healthcare professionals all over the world. So we see the USA, we see UK, Europe, down into Asia and Australia. So it's quite interesting that this tells you that healthcare professionals in Pakistan are part of a huge global network of other healthcare professionals talking to each other. And this is just on X alone. This doesn't count at the moment, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, etc. But on X, there's a huge global network where healthcare professionals in Pakistan are part of a very visible public conversation about different topics. One thing that's quite interesting about healthcare professionals in Pakistan is they talk more about politics and current affairs than about medicine on X. You may not be surprised to hear that. People tell me, no, this is really what. Okay, yeah. This is why X is blocked in Pakistan. I'm going to talk about that as well, actually. This is quite interesting. So yeah, here we see, current affairs, politics, international issues. The Cricket World Cup is down here as well at the moment. But these blue ones are, medical. These are just hashtags, right? So MedTwitter is a hashtag used for connecting on medical information. And then we see hashtag MedEd, medical education. So you see some of that going on in the conversation in Pakistan. But they're part of this big global network. They're connecting with each other. And we can look and see, this is interesting, and you just mentioned that, X is banned in Pakistan. So actually what happened was, when X was banned, there was a driving conversation. Healthcare professionals were talking a lot before the ban, and it really spiked, because they were all talking about the ban. What are we going to do? Should we use a different platform? Where should we go? Or shall we install a VPN and actually stay on X? And so that conversation dipped off afterwards. And we saw that after the ban, so before the ban, the weekly average number of posts per week by healthcare professionals on X was 34, nearly 35,000. And after the ban, the average number of posts by healthcare professionals on X dropped to 23,500. But clearly, a lot of healthcare professionals stayed on X after the ban, and perhaps using a VPN to access it. And I think what that shows is it shows the value of the established online community. Doctors tell us, because the thing about X, well, what used to be Twitter, what we all knew fondly as Twitter, got renamed X when Elon Musk, bought the company, and a lot of things changed. He removed a lot of the moderation that was happening on X, and people said that it became a bit more of an unpleasant place because there were lots of kind of not very nice things shared on it. But what doctors told us was that they had such a strong network on X, or on Twitter as they were still calling it, that they really didn't want to leave that network. They wanted to find ways to connect with their peers and stay in that conversation. Some of the things that health professionals actually do talk about, they do talk about medical content, at times. So we see one here, a physician who regularly shares medical questions in order to educate his peers. Ask them about, here are the symptoms, what is this condition, and you see other health professionals joining in. Actually, health professionals from Pakistan, but also from around the world, answering the question, engaging in that conversation. We also see things like this, actually sharing medical data. So this is an example where there's, an educational thread, and this health professional shares it and says this is very interesting. So again, getting it out to a wider network, collaborating and learning in that kind of way. So it's a really common way that health professionals share medical knowledge on social media, just to amplify each other's content and share what they see, what they believe in. So this is the interesting thing really about seeing how healthcare professionals are learning from each other on social media. It's maybe perhaps still relatively small compared to the total healthcare professional population in Pakistan, but it's perhaps an opportunity. You may know Dr. Alvi, high-profile dentist, continued to grow his network. Of course, he spoke about politics and current affairs issues as well, but he did also share dental content and talked about fixing teeth and so on. And so you see here, social media channel-wise, Dr. Alvi, 173,000 followers on X, 7,000 on Instagram, 3,000 on LinkedIn, but not very active. He hasn't really posted in the last couple of years on Instagram or LinkedIn, but he's posted a lot on X. Now that's not the same for everybody. There are many other channels that health professionals are using in Pakistan as well. So we can see here some examples of how they're using LinkedIn. Often used for sharing data and sharing updates and letting people what's going on. So here's a clinical study that's been carried out, and this physician is sharing that and putting it out to his network. Instagram, often used for professional updates, healthcare professional education. It is really used for connecting with patients often in many parts of the world, but we were seeing for physicians in Pakistan, we saw them also sharing medical content with each other, this kind of thing. And then TikTok as well. Often used for educational content, but not so much for peer-to-peer, for healthcare professional to healthcare professional scientific learning, much more being used to reach patients and consumers and educate them in this kind of way, in a very visual kind of way as well. So it doesn't have to be such scientific language, they can do something very visual. How many people here on TikTok? A small number, some of you are, great, yes. Great. And then yesterday I met this physician and Dr. Sania Bashir. She has her YouTube channel. Has anybody seen this? A really educational YouTube channel for patients. Hundreds of thousands of views of her content. This particular video here, released in May, has had I think 400,000 views, and it's packed with content for patients on living with diabetes and the diabetes experience, etc. Primarily in Urdu. So I think you saw the slide before. It showed that. Healthcare professionals are on X. They're using English language and Urdu, mostly, with some Arabic as well. But here she's communicating primarily in Urdu, is to reach local populations effectively. Okay, so we're going to discuss another question now. I'm going to ask you to talk to each other about this. Given what you've just seen about healthcare professional social media behaviors in Pakistan, how do you think social media can support pharma marketing in Pakistan, particularly in terms of reaching healthcare professionals, perhaps? Discuss with each other, and then we'll take some answers. How many responses to that, how do you think that, oh great, roving back, thank you.
Welcome to Pakistan. Thank you for giving me the opportunity and presenting this. What I think is that as pharmaceutical being highly regulated industry, there is no healthcare physician currently giving any views about a particular brand or a product, basically engaging consumers to take that product for that particular reason. Specifically for the vitamins, I think vitamins and minerals, they normally do such activities or they promote certain brands, but not for pharmaceutical products.
Thank you for sharing that. And this is a really, really important point. In fact, it's kind of the elephant in the room, I think, in a sense, is that pharmaceutical industry is so regulated, rightly so, and we can't just go and promote products on social media. You know, doctors can talk about our products, they can say what they want about products, but we can't, as pharmaceutical industry, just go and post out about products, we can't talk about that. So we have to think, I mean, sometimes I think challenges and restrictions, they create opportunities for innovation. They challenge us to think in fresh ways, to think in new ways, to solve things. So this is the opportunity. We're going to look at what does it mean then? If we can't just go and talk about products on social media, what could we do to serve customers effectively? Great point, thank you for sharing that. Great, I'm going to come to you, I'm going to come to you guys over here. Go ahead. Thanks.
As I was talking about that, we have some regulation that we can't market few products on social media from our pharmaceutical point of view, but we do have some product like cosmeceutical product and pharmaceutical product that we can market on the social media with the help of SCPs. Like we have Dr. Shah on TikTok, he's a dermatologist in UK. So basically he promoted CeraVe. He is basically a pharma marketer for CeraVe, and mostly he was marketing the CeraVe products there. So we can market the cosmeceutical products and pharmaceutical products there. Yeah, we have regulations for our pharmaceutical medications, so we can do that, but we can, cosmeceutical medications, we can, market them on social media.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, thanks for sharing that experience. So you're collaborating with a health professional in the UK? Yeah. Dr. Shah. Ah, yeah, great, great. Okay, some thoughts from the team via here.
As long as we know that we are in the highly regulated market, we cannot talk about products, but we can, in collaboration with LCPs, pharma can, bring into patient awareness series on different kinds of, therapeutic areas. Obviously, in pharma, as we exist, we know that which pharma companies are offering expertise in which therapeutic areas. So that is one point that we can create relevance and, create such platforms which can, run for the patient awareness programs.
Brilliant, thank you. Patient awareness, really, really great opportunity.
Excuse me, in pharmaceutical marketing, actually we cannot address the direct consumer. So we address the customers, doctors, and then doctor prescribe our product. So in many cases, we promote our product to doctors, but patient doesn't reach to the doctor. So we have to create awareness about the disease area so that the patient can go to the doctors and he or she can prescribe our product. As you said, we can use doctors in creating awareness about certain diseases. So doctors or SCPs can help in creating awareness about diseases.
Great, great opportunity. Brilliant, thank you. There's one question on this table here. I'll answer on this table here.
Assalamualaikum. I would like to add my point because there are so many restrictions to follow the digital marketing channel in order to promote the product, but there is no restriction to create awareness regarding the disease. Even in Pakistan, we have done back in a month with Dr. Solis, we have raised the program in order to generate awareness regarding the ankylosing spondylitis, and that was the big success. And second, there are so many doctors that they have their own social media presence and they share their own patient testimonials that what was the effect and how this product or this treatment could help the other patients. So pharmaceutical can't directly do that even in MNCs, but for disease awareness we can utilize it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that experience and those perspectives on how social media can play a part in pharma marketing. And I think one of the big voices we're hearing through that is actually just that disease awareness is an opportunity and that it's difficult to talk about products. And actually, do you know what? Doctors don't really talk that much about medicines directly online. They also are more likely to engage in in terms of patient-facing content, disease awareness. They'll talk with each other, often about clinical trials or new science, this kind of thing. But you very rarely see a physician saying something like, oh, I love this product, or I don't like this product. It's a tiny part, maybe 2% of all their conversation is taking place in that space. Some thoughts I had about how social media can play a role in supporting pharma marketing. One of them is to listen to what health professionals care about. If you know where these doctors are on social media, just listening to them can give you some powerful perspectives. Imagine if you got the opportunity to be in a room with a doctor when he's talking to his colleagues, and you could just listen to that and see what he's saying. Even if you just discover what current affairs issues does this doctor care about, this is going to be valuable insight about who this physician is, what they think, what he or she is talking about and sharing. So listening is a great opportunity. Engaging outside of medicines. We've talked already about the fact that you can't talk about medicines online, but there are many other topics you could talk about with healthcare professionals on social media channels, or collaborate with them to create content on social media channels. And that connects with this one, post meaningful content. You can put content on social media that you know now. If you listen to the doctor, if you think about what they care about, you can post content that is meaningful to them. This is where there's a great opportunity with AI. We talk about using AI in marketing, and things like ChatGPT, very simple AI tool, very widely accessible. You can set ChatGPT. There's a setting where you can tell it, don't learn from my conversation, so it doesn't use your data to inform its engine, right? So you can set it into that kind of private mode, and you could say perhaps, I want to have a conversation, I want to post a great post on LinkedIn about this topic, or here are some things the doctors are saying about this topic. I want to post something meaningful. It will actually help you to form something. It's quite a powerful tool from that. It can help you to do some of that thinking. Of course, you want to human verify it, you want to make sure it's compliant and so on, but I think it's a really great tool for helping you. If you're stuck for words, I use it frequently to help me post social media content, or write an email if I'm trying to think about what is it I want to say and I want to do that in the right kind of way. And build relationship. Social media is an opportunity to do that, to get to know you. You saw one of the physicians who spoke earlier on the video, he said, when we end up meeting somebody at a conference, but I feel like I know them already because we connected on social media and we've been following each other. So that's a great opportunity. Just through following and engaging, it doesn't need to be a hard promotional or marketing activity, but you're building relationship that can be valuable down the line for establishing trust and great collaboration. I'm going to ask you one more question to think about now, and is to try and be specific. Dr. Zaki asked you at the beginning, why are you here? What's the reason you're here for? What is it you want from today? And I think about this. See if you can come up with, and maybe you already have something in mind, but maybe you can think of something, a specific marketing challenge or opportunity that you want to address. Perhaps there's a particular campaign you're looking at, perhaps there's a message that you've got, perhaps you understand a particular problem that you want to address with marketing. What is it you want to solve? Try and be specific about it. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about this. And in fact, I believe that there's tea. If you want to have tea break, there's tea being served outside, I think. If you want to get some, take 2 minutes to get some tea, come back with it. Don't spend ages out there, come back in with it, and then we'll talk about this. But try to get specific, because then we're going to get into some ideas and some ideation, and I'm going to help you to solve this, thinking about practical things with social media, digital marketing, different channels, things that you can do with healthcare professionals. So try and be specific. If you can get in your mind, you could write it down, you could put a note on your phone, you could talk to your colleague about it, someone around your table. Try and define a specific marketing challenge or opportunity that you want to address. Have a think about that, grab some tea if you want to, and come back in here in a couple of minutes. You can keep this confidential, or you can share it with somebody else, but have something in mind that you want to solve.